What's happening, everybody? It's Brian back with another video. Um, Today's topic, I want to talk about something that I find doesn't get enough attention in the entire community. As far as I'm concerned, and if you've watched my channel, you know I've, like most of you, done obsessive amounts of research. And that is this concept of not just intolerance of uncertainty, but seeing OCD people, especially, having an intolerance of discomfort or imperfection in general. If we're focusing on the main emotion that OCD people usually experience, that is anxiety. So people always talk about you have an intolerance of uncertainty. Your intolerance of uncertainty is what's driving your OCD. It's what's driving your rituals, everything else. But the truth is, the intolerance of uncertainty, in and of itself, people have uncertainty about everything that doesn't really bother them. Okay, it's just when OCD digs its claws into one specific area for you that now all of a sudden you feel like you must have a certainty about something. Maybe about figuring it out. Maybe you want certainty that it doesn't stick around, or certainty that you will get back to where you used to be. Whatever it is, you can almost always find certainty at the core of people's OCD issues. But the intolerance of uncertainty, as I said, in and of itself doesn't mean much unless there's a feeling coming with it. What people are really aversive to, that have OCD, and people in general are aversive to, hard negative emotions. So anxiety being the main one for OCD people, there is a general intolerance of anxiety. A general, I can't take this. I need this to be gone. Things need to be better. Things need to be perfect. I don't deserve this. I can't take it. And so I do find that doesn't get enough attention. And the truth is, it doesn't need that much attention, because it's kind of a distinction that, from intolerance of uncertainty, that doesn't really matter much if we're doing treatment, because what the treatment is aimed at doing is increasing our tolerance, not just for uncertainty, but increasing our tolerance for the feelings that come along with it. But I do think it's important that people who are suffering understand that that is a goal of treatment. Is also, and also recognizing that, asking yourself, do you find yourself being more susceptible to feelings, just general bad feelings, than people that don't have OCD? From what I can see, a lot of people who have OCD do. They just have a lower threshold for feeling crappy. Okay, and you find that perfectionism gets rolled into this too. I can't feel like this. I shouldn't feel like this. I try too hard. I'm too good a person. And so, not only doing the treatment of ERP, but this is where the practice of mindfulness for me has been, I've said it before, I think it's a superpower. I think it's a genuine superpower. And for the people who work with me, you hear me say stuff a lot like, I genuinely can't wait for the next crappy feeling to come up in my life. Seriously. So many people get into this treatment thinking, okay, I'm going to put up with the crappy feeling for a little bit, because then I'm going to get over it. And then boom, I'm set, baby. I'm back to where I was. Life is good. Well, the truth is, you're going to continue to have tough feelings. Even if you do ERP and your OCD isn't bothering you as much, you're going to have tough emotional feelings. So whatever comes up for me, feelings of anger, feelings of being ashamed or feeling guilty, feelings of anxiety. I mean, believe me, this stuff still comes up. But having this attitude, and again, this is an attitude that is embraced by most OCD therapists, is this come and get me, give me your worst. Because if we have that attitude and we mean it, it isn't just saying it, it is meaning it. I truly mean it now, because I have seen what happens when I can sit mindfully when I can meditate and keep a mindful attitude when I'm experiencing pain. I see what happens. And I don't want to mislead you into thinking like, okay, I'm on Brian's side here. Now I want all this too. Because if you're thinking that way, you're probably thinking that means I don't have to experience it anymore. What I'm saying is, yes, it is true that I experience all of those hard feelings less, but every time they come up, I am completely practiced now at opening up and accepting them. And what I see happening, and this is a very fine line, and it's paradoxical in and of itself, but in the mindfulness practice, there's a bunch of paradoxes, and the deeper you go into them, the more questions you can ask. And so this paradox here that I've talked about before of acceptance versus change, okay, well, embracing an attitude of radical acceptance, of opening up to things exactly the way they are, of trying your best to invite them in, to stick around as long as they want, and to have an attitude of the 9 attitudes of mindfulness written about in Kabat-Zinn's book. Literally, I sat in meditation doing each and every one of these for a long time, and I still do. Sometimes I'll sit and just do an acceptance meditation. Sometimes I will just do a letting go meditation. Sometimes I will just do a beginner's mind meditation, where I'm aware of the thoughts that are coming up in my mind, and I'm looking at them as a beginner with just a sense of curiosity and wonder. Wow, look at what my brain just came up with now. And then coupling that with the ERP attitude of not engaging in a way to analyze or figure out or escape anything else. So, intolerance of the bad feeling is really more at the heart of what's causing people's OCD than just an intolerance of uncertainty, because uncertainty in and of itself doesn't carry any real emotional weight. It's what the uncertainty is doing to you emotionally that is really the thing that compels you to do rituals. It's kind of a double entendre there. Compels you. You do your compulsions because of the feeling that you have inside. It isn't just, if you have an intolerance of uncertainty with no feeling attached to it, well, that's kind of just a moot point. That's nothing. And so the practice of ERP will build up your tolerance, not just to will build up your tolerance to not just uncertainty, but also to all of these emotions that come in. And that paradox that I spoke of through radical acceptance comes profound change, is very tough for people because they're waiting for that profound change. They're doing all this with the goal of that profound change in mind. And how do you get yourself into the mindset of not looking for that? Especially if you're hearing it from me right now that actually comes. It's difficult, but really the best solution to that problem is to just stay present with whatever's going on. And for me, those daily reminders when my OCD was really bad were very important. People forget. OCD comes in and it will make you forget all the little tips and tricks that you heard even an hour before because it feels so real. And so having reminders of, look, let's just open up to this. Let's accept that I don't need to figure anything out here. I don't need to change a single thing that's there. And I'm going to completely invite the feelings that come in with it, not with the goal of getting rid of them, but simply with the goal of what happens. Can I have this beginner's mind, this acceptance, this patience, this non-striving? Can I practice these attitudes with these feelings? All right. And then profound, I don't want to say change because it gets people stuck, but you do experience profound freedom. And also, like I said, even when these hard moments come up, even though they don't hit me nearly as hard, I mean it when I say, like, I look forward to them. Because, hey, not only do they not hit me as hard, but let's say I do. Let's say I have like a really bad flare-up. I know now with all the practice that I've done that I can. You want to talk about Greenberg's approach to learning from doing exposures. Well, I've practiced this stuff so much that I have a deep knowing that every time it comes up, that if I can embrace these attitudes, if I can sit with it mindfully, um, that it's nothing more than a feeling. And so I look at it like, hey, the more I practice, the more freedom I'm going to get. And if that means that even in 20 years, this stuff still pops up, great. So far, right now, my trajectory has been it's been popping up less and less, less and less with less anxiety, sticks around not as long. And so, since I have that attitude of like, yo, let's look for more of it, that's also a very powerful attitude towards this stuff just not having as big of an impact on you. All right, so it's just a minor distinction, but it's important for people to be aware of that your intolerance as an OCD sufferer of just feeling crappy, not feeling perfect all the time, is really the motivating thing behind not being able to tolerate uncertainty. So that's even at the deeper core. And the good news is you can work with your emotions, you can open up to these things, and you can experience a whole lot of freedom from them. I hope this has been helpful in some way. And thanks again for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.